So hold it together.
Christabel, I really, really, really hope you got into it quick, in an untimely fashion, because
I got a poor result on the sanity.
Oh dear!
Here it comes.
That's not awful. I mean, poor, but probably has some.
Stalk off muttering or something like that.
Pretty sure it's not just stalk off muttering. I think that's a success, not a failure.
I should say, on the basis that there is a scale for giving you columnship, and it's none of these horrible, terrible things that give you minus.
Right.
Maybe I should give you a columnship. Although, I don't know, I suppose...
Degree of personal danger, the proximity of the source of fear, and the awfulness of the situation.
It seems quite awful to me as a situation. Maybe I'll just leave it as it is. So, what did you say you got?
I was on a poor result.
Okay, so we have the terrible outcome that it says you cry, whimper, scream, or huddle in a corner until slapped or shaken.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
which is not quite up there with the terribleness of Palladium.
Yeah, I was going to say. I mean, as you go down the list, there it gets real bad. I warned you guys about this.
Right. Well, I had the one early on where it was a catastrophic result. Yeah. Right. So we know where that went.
So,
but what I imagine with this is, there's shock, and I think I really start working on that lion herb now. I'm kind of using that one to try to kind of calm my mind.
Okay.
I have to admit, the lion herb would go a long way in this direction. I mean, if lion herb had some sort of real-world reference point for us to go by.
I probably do that, and I probably, fall a little bit against my new Amazon friend for some support.
Yes, that can certainly happen, and she is empathic enough to see your distress and your sudden entry into shock, and as you are not a snivelling man, she is probably sympathetic, and so rather than shaking or slapping anybody, she puts a protective arm around you. Maybe she guide you away from here into the gloom under the tree. And perhaps get yourself. Let's assume that, girl, you will put yourself together a bit with your new friend. Shining Star. Moon's Glow has grabbed you by the arm in her Goblin Queen costume that she is wearing.
I am all ears.
And she says, Star, what are you doing here? It's dangerous.
I was invited. And dangerous? Well, I thought so, but to me personally, and if to me, why not to you? Are you okay?
Do you want to give me a sincerity roll to see whether she believes you are interested in whether...
You just always put me through the mill with this character, don't you?
I was really generous when you first met her, and she didn't try and kill you, so...
Sincerity's not my strong suit, although I keep trying, and I only get a poor.
Okay, so she's... Yes. She's more concerned about telling you why it's dangerous.
I'm fascinated. Why is it dangerous?
There are not nice people here. Dangerous people.
Thought balloon. Not nice. Knew that part. Dangerous. Knew that part. reference anywhere else in the world, same result. Big fucking deal. But it's all just a thought balloon. Yes.
She seems on edge, and she's what's she going to say? Why not? So she points to she says him, for example, and she points out the darker, Byronic-looking chap who Christabel didn't get with, who is hanging around the edge. You did, I guess. Him, for example.
Master Assassin.
He thinks he's dangerous. He's not the only one, and she's wandering on, and she, a word I can never pronounce, chasses over towards him, grabs him by the shoulder, and pulls him into a kiss.
Well, seems like my sister's doing pretty well, if bizarre. I want an empathy roll. What the hell is going on with her? Because she's acting weird. Concerned, and then on edge, and then...
Yeah, empathy. Sounds good to me.
This is going to be one of those tragic misunderstandings.
Well, depends how bad it went.
I get a feeble. So...
Okay, so it was tragic misunderstanding. Yeah, she's being weird, but she was always weird when you were girls.
Okay.
And maybe she's still cross that you left her tied up with Ernest. Maybe she's just snogging this guy just to show you how much better and cooler than you.
Oh shit! The player just figured it out, and my character did not.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I'll shrug and tragically ignore the disaster unfolding in front of my eyes.
Okay. Cool.
And okay, plot twist, everybody. Plot corner turned. Right.
Okay. So, Christabel. Probably the last thing. How are you getting on with your friend? Is that just a nice convivial discussion about the charms of cave slugs, or is there anything else you'd like to?
No, I guess I don't really have it in.
Okay, cool.
Let's just say I'll tell him I work at I own a business called Relaxicat, and I'd love to meet him nearby for lunch sometime.
How good girl of you.
Well, I mean, he's into you, so he says, "Yeah, cool. I'll maybe come around tomorrow."
Can't wait.
Perhaps it's that point in the party where all the excitement and stuff just pauses for a moment, apart from increasingly agitated conversations between nomads. Is there anything anyone else would like to do before we call it a night?
I just want to know what happened. Did girl go and whimper in a corner?
I think she's. Girl.
I think what girl did is with some support from her Amazon friend, kind of kept puffing on.
Oh,
the
right.
lion to kind of keep herself together. I think what I would imagine is when girl has an opportunity to meet back up with Shining Star and Christabel, I think girl would give some account of how she never could seem to get away from her past, and that. Oh, and did you realize that the people in the nomad outfits, they weren't really just costumes, that they were really nomads?
That's amazing, girl.
And not only that, but I know who one of them is. And it's somebody I have a history with, and it's not a pleasant history.
Okay, knowing you and knowing your history already to some extent, I say this. I'll put 2 and 2 together, if that's all right, and say this has to do with when you were a war slave.
That would be an understatement to say that it has something to do with that, because one of the people who arrived was, in fact, the lawgiver who was in charge of the people who enslaved me.
So basically, and I'm trying to reconcile a couple of things in my mind. One, that girl didn't go berserk and leap across the room to kill him. And 2, that must be some really good lion herb if it's involved in keeping her from doing that. But I also have seen girl melt down before. So I'm actually a little concerned over her state. I mean, does she? I mean, I guess it would be another empathy roll, which I'll probably bork as well. But can I make an empathy roll, Russ?
Absolutely. Only look and see if there's
well,
anything
this
more
time is a whole different thing. This is what happens when you go through, trials by fire with somebody. You're empathic toward them. In this case, my empathy yields me a nice... where did it go? 7. Oh, just short of superior, but it is great. And I'll quickly realize that that girl has received quite a shock. And I'm a little uncertain as to what that could mean in the short term as far as sudden reactions go. And I think it's time to get her out of here to a nice comfy bed to have, sleep. Is there some way to get her away from this Amazon whose designs upon her are dubious?
I got the impression they had separated after a bit of comforting in the
much better
the forest. But, if that's all right with Robbie.
Yeah, no, that sounds fine. I would also say you probably smell that lion herb quite heavy on girl.
Right. Okay. I get you.
Very clear that is.
Oh well, if I'm as empathic as this, I've got it. I mean, you've definitely self-medicated and need to be taken care of. I'm going into girlfriend mode. I'm getting her out of there.
Meanwhile, I'm going to give you 3 bonus inspiration for a fun and exciting party. That's all right.
Sweet.
And I believe several of you had lots of extra things to roll for anyway.
No, I've got 1, and
I had a thing to roll for. Pretty cool.
I actually got 2. I got 1 on my leg. Yeah.
Yes, don't forget that one.
I guess I should get back into bargain pretty neat.
Hey! The leg has improved.
My fate improved by 1.
That's a good thing.
Yes. We tend to roll that one a fair amount. So.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yes.
Now, 13 is super hard to improve, and I completely don't. Rolling an awesome. So, and then could have used that a couple of times on the actual thing. And
sincerity again. Fate, no. Bargain. It's just under the line, right? So
yes, if you get
so my
less
bargain went up. Sincerity went up.
Wow, you're fast. I'm still struggling on what to roll for.
And my control went up. So my
that's nice.
Animal magic got a little boost there.
I'm going to go after sincerity and lie as usual. Sincerity does not go up. And lie, on the other hand, does. Ooh.
And Ross, I have taken note of the curious way in which Girl's visions that she received a few sessions back seem to be resonating with some of the events that have transpired.
Oh yeah, that was the trip.
dancing party,
Yes,
something. Now it wasn't a magic carpet, but like coming in on a flying horse, and then also the cackling face, which for me is like that appearance of the lawgiver.
Ooh. Would love to say I'd planned any of that.
Ross. Shh.